We are now joined by Houston Texans head football coach Lovie Smith, Big Sandy's very own, member of the Texas Sports Hall of Fame and Texas High School Football Hall of Fame. Lovie, it is absolutely amazing to talk to you again as a head coach of a franchise. What does this mean to you?
Oh, quite a bit. Just being a football guy, from Texas, and getting a chance to lead, our professional football team here. Pretty special. Been a part of football. Football's been a part of my life forever, and so to get a chance to continue to do it, it helped an awful lot last year. Of course, getting a chance to know some of the players, and can't wait to get started.
Lovie, did you ever think you would be a head coach again after Illinois?
My glass has been kind of half full most of my life, and whenever you're, I've kind of always gone by if you're in sports or you're in anything and you're in charge of a group and people feel like you've done a good job, they give you more responsibility. So if it didn't happen, David, I would have been fine, but just really blessed that it did happen.
Lovie Smith, head coach of the Texans. It seems to me, and I know the franchise has struggled, there's no question, the last handful of years, but it seems to me once you were introduced that most everybody I could see, read, watch, calm down. Did you? And that wasn't your goal, but that's who you are. Did you kind of get that impression as well?
Well, I hope that's the case. Every time I've been blessed enough to be in charge of 3 professional franchises. You normally don't get a job when everything is going, along perfectly. So there are some issues that have to be taken care of. I think my personality says that, and I just have a lot of faith in what we're going to do. Feel good. David, the first order of business is the staff, and really love what we're able to do staff-wise, and that gives everybody hope.
Well, and I know that has been something you've been able to introduce in the reaction and what they have said about you as well, as far as the glowing responses, which is not a surprise. What's it mean to get Pep Hamilton? I know he's been on staff, but to have him as your offensive coordinator?
Quite a bit, and we go way back, and of course when I was, head coach for the Bears, Pep was then a young up-and-coming quarterback coach that was bright, knew he had a great future ahead of him. Our time, from then, wanted to get on the staff with him a few other times. It didn't work out. But this time, last year, of, getting back on staff with him, and just bright, got a good mind, defensive mentality as far as, tough football, run the ball, but if you look at what he's been able to do with some of the top quarterbacks that's played, really it's encouraging, and you can't wait to get started.
There was always this story your mom thought one day you would coach the Dallas Cowboys. Well, you're going to coach in Texas in the NFL in Houston. Isn't that kind of ironic that opportunity came up?
Yes, Dave, you got a chance to meet my mother. I mean, she was a great lady, but that kind of tells me she wasn't perfect, but she had she had that dream, and I think most people that grow up coaching, playing football would love to be able to lead the professional franchise of our state, one of them, and I'm getting my dream.
What means most to you? And I'm not trying to say, hey, which of these of your children do you like the most, but you're a member of the Texas High School Football Hall of Fame, and then also the Texas Sports Hall of Fame. And I know what Texas means. You are, and I've said this many times, that you are as proud to be a Texan as anyone I've ever known from my entire life. What did those things mean to you?
Oh, they mean the world. I mean, it meant, just like it meant to be recognized in the Big Sandy, Hall of Fame or Wall of Fame. Anytime you get acknowledged by people that you really respect, and it's a special thing. And growing up, there are so many great athletes that come through that are in sports and of course in football. So to be recognized that way, but a lot of times you get recognized after you've completed your job, and I feel like we definitely haven't completed our work yet.
Do you also feel like you had unfinished business the way things ended in Chicago and Tampa Bay as a head coach?
Oh, absolutely. So, as you know, your earlier question about did you think that you wouldn't get another opportunity? Of course, you're just wanting to. Everyone wants to end their career, whatever, a certain way. And I'm a long ways from retiring, but I didn't like the way it ended at either place. And we get a chance to do something about it. You know, every time you go through a situation, you learn something about yourself and things you would do differently a little bit, and maybe just things that you really believe in. And now the third time around, I feel like the best version of who I am as a coach is what the Texans will get.
You coached under Tony Dungy. He also is someone that Dave Aranda at Baylor has leaned on quite a bit over his time. You and I, in fact, traded a couple of text messages about Coach Dungy. Have you spoken with him since all this came down?
Well, you know, and I had a chance to speak an awful lot to many, people. Tony, of course, is a lifetime friend. And, we've been together. I kind of know exactly what he believes and how he handles every situation. You know, the benefits I've gotten from a lifetime, over a 20-year relationship, of course, will be on display each week.
What was it like, Lovie, knowing you're a football man, when you weren't coaching football? And that's rare, but it's happened. Well,
it's a big void. You know, when you've been doing it as long as I have. It's one thing about coaching, but, in Texas, of course, you start football at an early age, and when that's been a part of you, it's a big void when you don't have it. But that's why I'm just so glad that I don't have to go through that. You know, that's going to, again, there's no substitute for that. And, again, just can't wait to and have a chance to just be around young people and to continue to teach. Most teachers would tell you they're going to teach until they possibly can't anymore, and I'm just glad that I don't have to.
You know that fan base. The fan base is thirsty, and you mentioned the reason why sometimes there are coaching changes because there has been something that needed to be done, or just sometimes it's just the way transition happens. Can you sense how thirsty the Texan fans are to not only win, but to make sure you build it right and then win?
Well, I know for sure, it's going to be built the right way. I mean, there's a standard, of course, that we have here in our Texans organization. But I've been on the opposing side of the field, quite a few times. And I know about the fan base that we have here. That, I mean, it's an intelligent crowd that knows football and a certain brand of football. So I just know that those days left us. I mean, this past year, David, there's a reason why we didn't fill up the stands, but it's left up to us to put a better product on the football field. That's what we can do right now, and that's what we're going about doing.
Brooks Cabina wrote an article, and, of course, I've told the story, and many have, about your relationship with your hometown and Big Sandy and those incredible teams in the 70s, and just Big Sandy and the fundamentals of life and hard work. What really does Big Sandy, Texas mean to Lovie Smith?
Well, I think just that, and when you're a coach, I mean, everything we do is based on, if something isn't going exactly the way you like, you work harder, getting up early every day, putting your best foot forward, the responsibility that comes along with being a part of the team. And I think, in some small towns, you get that a little bit. I've had a chance. I think my wife, Marianne, and I are getting ready to move into maybe house 27, I think is what it is. So we've had a chance to live in different places and be around different people from different areas. I just know in a small town, when you know everyone, there's responsibility to get it right and to do it right each day, and I still feel that pressure to get it right.
Did you really, when Coach Norman had to take some time away from practice and Gary Chalk ran the offense one day and you ran the defense, did you ever, was coaching in your blood even then?
I think as you talk to most coaches, they saw themselves coaching, at an early age. I just knew that I wanted to be around football my entire life, and the only way to do it was to be a coach. So, yeah, I did see it at an early age, wanted to do that. All my role models, teachers, coaches, wanted their life. So I'm getting a chance to do exactly what I wanted to do all my life.
I sent a text to Gary and I said, hey, tell me something about this situation and the opportunity that came about. And he said he felt like you might have been as excited about this opportunity as any you've gotten. Is that true?
Well, when you say Gary, we go back to grade school together.
Uh-huh.
Been together all our life. So he would probably know me as well as anyone. And I can definitely say that I can't really tell you about the excitement. When you had a chance to be in sports as long as I have and get a chance to come back and, as I said, to lead our Houston, our franchise here, it's pretty special. And just want to be a part of getting a proud franchise back on top. Absolutely.
Lovie, what changed in the end? There were obviously stories and rumors and speculation, and a lot of it's not even true. But then all of a sudden your name popped. What did you say to them? What happened? What happened that all of a sudden you were the head coach of the Texans?
Well, I think, David, anyone that has a job, you kind of interview it every day that you go out and do your job. It's not like that I just showed up at the organization, the day I got the job here. I was around throughout the process. From my time, in another role throughout last year, my opinion about how things should be done. And I think they kind of looked at my experience that I've had in certain situations, and they interviewed a lot of people. It's not like I talked to them right at the end. Of course, I was kind of involved in the process all along. So just glad that they came to the conclusion that, that I was the right guy to lead the franchise.
You were born on May 8th. You're a Taurus. I'm a Taurus, and I've always been told that Tauruses can be a little bullheaded, and that's probably me, but also dependable, hardworking, dedicated, stubborn, passionate. Does that all describe? I think it does because I've known you long enough. Does that describe you?
Well, I think most of it does, and the stubborn part, there's a belief. I have a belief in how things should be done. And it comes out always. I'm not up and down, high, too low. And the belief on how football should be played, how, you run an organization as a head football coach. I have definite opinions about that and had years of experience to really even mold more of what I believe. And as I said earlier, and I think the Texans are going to get the best of what I've been able to learn throughout my career.
Lovie, there's been a lot of discussion about the Rooney Rule and about black head coaches or opportunities for black coaches or minorities. Why hasn't it gotten better? Your opportunity is there. We know the story about what's happened in the NFL during the many changes, not just this year, but over the years. Do you see it getting any better? Is it better, and how can it get better?
Well, a couple thoughts on that. Is it better? Yes, it's better. David, back when I first met you back in 1983, when you followed me around on signing day, I was the only black guy on the staff.
Mm-hmm.
Times have changed since then. We've come a long way. A lot of times, if you look at what was being fought for in the 60s, 70s, things have changed, but I think you can make big changes and you plateau a little bit, and then you have to reassess exactly where we are. Times have changed. They've gotten a lot better, but there's a time when there were 7, 8 guys that looked like me that led NFL franchises. That's not the case anymore. So we have to take a step back and see what we can all do. The Rooney Rule it has good intentions for, putting more guys that look like me in front of owners. And I think there are some people like me that have an opportunity to hire and fire guys and what your staff makeup. And I think that's where it starts a little bit. More young people that want to get into the coaching profession because they see the good and what it's done for them. And that's what we're trying to do here. But instead of talking about what we should do and what we haven't done, I would just say, look at who we are as a Texan organization. Look at me leading, Pep Hamilton calling offensive plays. There's not a whole lot of black offensive play callers in the National Football League, and then the rest of the staff. So that's what we're doing.
Last thing for you. You have always remained humble. That doesn't mean you haven't had times when you've had to check yourself at the door, but I can't imagine that's ever happened much with you. How has that been? How have you been able to be who you are to the core?
Oh, I don't think that you can turn it on, turn it off on who you are. And a lot of it is your upbringing a little bit and just life experiences. Who you are really kind of comes out. I would hope that people would say that about me because it's important. There's a right way to do things. And I think you can take that as you look. I go back to what I initially talked about coaching staff-wise. I mean, we have good men leading our young men. And once you get good people, everything is at your, you can reach for the stars a little bit, and that's what we're doing.
I'm so proud of you, man. I'm proud to be a friend, proud of what you've done, what you accomplished, what you represent. Thanks for your time. Congratulations.
Anytime, David. Take care.
Lovie Smith, head football coach of the Houston Texans, Sikkim 365 Radio.
Baylor University